Like one of the big concerns that people have, that I've heard at least, when they're talking about anything from like AI to self-driving technology, cars, programs, whatever, however you want to describe it, is that it's going to provide like an incredible economic benefit for the few people who are in control of it. Mm-hmm. What is your sense, both as like an economics and a tech writer, as to how we can ensure that this is for the benefit of everyone, so that we get, like you're describing, like a scenario in which we have all this technology and it's making things cheaper and more available and people have more money, and we get somewhere towards what I have heard people describe as fully automated luxury communism.
Sure.
How do we stop that being corrupted in a way by people who will create this tech and then just use it to further their own wealth and sort of make it not as utilitarian as, is that the right word? Make it not as like widely available or not as good for humanity as sort of more broadly.
Right. Yeah. So I guess I see this as not like super specific to the tech. I mean, obviously it's true that when you invent a new technology, the people that invented or own that technology are going to get rich, and that pushes up inequality. And so I think just the kind of like old fashioned progressive taxation, government benefits, in a world with a lot of automation and a lot of very rich people, you probably want some more income redistribution. I don't have like a dog in the fight of like how much there should be, but if that's your concern, it's better to focus on that kind of thing as opposed to kind of limiting the spread of the technology or try to like re-architect the technology to, because it's not, I don't think it's particular to any specific technology. Like every technology has done this, and not every, but lots of technologies have done this. And if you try to kind of tinker with individual technologies, you're likely to have to make them less useful or otherwise like screw things up. One other thing I've written about is I do think the concept of full employment is really important. And the Federal Reserve is an important institution here. Like if you have a situation where a lot of automation is throwing people out of work, what you want to put more money in people's pockets so they can spend and then create jobs in other parts of the economy, perhaps. And that's basically fundamentally what the Fed does. It decides how much money is circulating. And so I think if you're worried about kind of a dystopian jobless future, you should be thinking about that kind of macroeconomic policy. And also like stimulus spending like Congress did last year. That kind of thing is a way to not only put people to work, but one of the really nice things about a really like tight labor market is that workers have a lot of leverage. Because if everybody can like quit and go down the street and get a job somewhere else the next day, then not only are you hopefully going to get raises, but you also, employers have an incentive to be nicer to you. They have an incentive to be maybe more open-minded about, hiring somebody with a criminal record, or, if they're racist, they might still have to take somebody they're not that excited about because, they need the work. Like it just gives workers more power. And so that's, I guess that's one of my personal hobby horses. I think it's really important to have a full employment economy with a tight labor market.
How do you get a full employment economy that isn't, because the only example I can think of right now is say Soviet Russia or communist China, and like obviously these are extreme examples.
Sure.
But like how do you get that in a capitalist economy?
Sure.
Essentially, is my question.
So to be clear, by full employment, I don't mean like necessarily a like official government job guarantee. I mean the kind of employee economy we had in like 1999, when it was just unemployment was like below 4%. Lots of wages were rising, profits were up, and I think that the last decade, the Fed and Congress have made from like 2009 to 2019. I think that recovery could have been much faster if macroeconomic policymakers had done different things. If they, for example, the Fed started raising interest rates in 2015, which slowed the economy. I think it would have been better if they hadn't done that, and then we would have gotten. I mean, 2019 was a pretty good economy as well. I think we could have gotten there several years faster if we had more stimulus spending and looser money. So that's what I'm talking about is not I think there's some argument for like universal basic income. I'm not like opposed to that, but a much more like straightforward thing is just make sure you're pushing unemployment rate down quickly by making sure that consumers have lots of money to spend.
Do you buy the right to work argument? I mean, because I've seen that sort of debated quite hotly in sort of more left wing circles, at least the right wingers are outraged about the idea. But like, do you buy that as a concept as something that's like actually feasible?
No, I would not say that I'm a fan of the idea of the government like guaranteeing people a job. I think in a wealthy society you should be able to make sure people have food to eat and but I think the way to do that is programs like food stamps that make sure people have money. But I think it's really hard for the government to design a program that gives people like useful work. And if it's not useful work, then it's like kind of what's the point? Because the point of giving somebody a job as opposed to just a check is so they like feel proud of like they're like contributing to society. But like they're gonna know if you're like creating make work jobs that aren't actually useful, like that's not gonna work because people aren't stupid. They're gonna know that actually my job is not useful. So that I think there might be cases where there actually are useful work that could be done that the government could hire more people as a jobs program. I'm like opposed to that. But if you say like everybody's guaranteed a job, like there's just going to be times when the government doesn't have enough things for people to do, or there's going to be certain workers that don't have any relevant skills that government can put to work. And I would rather just give those people money as opposed to like make a fake job for them.
Yeah, no, I can get that. So what piece of tech do you think is going to make the biggest impact in our lives, either sort of on society or just sort of economically over the next sort of 10 to 15 years? Is there something that you like look at as being the industry where things are going to really explode?
Sure. I mean, I think self-driving is definitely high on that list. As I said, I think it might be a little more than 10 years when you have the big impact. It might be more the 2030s, but I think that'll be a big deal. This is not my area, but I have the impression that biotech is going to be a big thing. I mean, obviously the rapid speed with which we got the COVID vaccine was a big deal. And I've seen some people suggest that those same techniques will allow us to quickly develop vaccines for other diseases that have been hard to deal with. So that seems really promising to me. And then I think that like clean tech, I think really has a lot of momentum behind it now. The falling cost of batteries means that we're very close to the point where electric cars are just as cheap as gasoline cars, without any subsidies. And I think as that becomes true, a lot of stuff will start changing, because right now gasoline cars benefit from the kind of network effects of, there's so many gasoline car owners that you can, for example, just assume there'll be a gas station in any city you go to. You don't have to like check ahead of time, will I be able to refill my car? But, as electric cars start to become more popular, that'll become true of electric cars. And gas cars are actually kind of a pain in the ass. Like you have to change the oil. You have to go to the gas station with, we have an electric car, and aside from long trips, you can just charge at home. And so I think that, and I think they tend to break down less because they're much simpler. So I think we're likely to see, probably in about that 10-year time frame, you'll see a rapid increase in the number of people that have electric cars, which I don't think will have like transformational effects on society, but I think it'll be a big, there'll be a lot of jobs installing charging stations and fixing electric cars and so forth. And obviously that'll have some big environmental benefits. And then I think that will then allow, as the scale of electric cars get bigger, batteries will continue to get cheaper and more powerful because there'll be more R&D and more economies of scale. And that'll make it easier to electrify the electric grid. You might have more, this is a little farther out, but I think electric airplanes are going to become viable for short trips. There's a category of vertical takeoff and landing ones that are kind of like helicopters that, some people call like flying cars. I think we're a ways away from that, but like cheap and high power batteries are an important factor in that. So I think I think batteries are one of the things that's going to change a lot of things in ways people I think are not necessarily expecting right now.
I think it was Elon Musk that said, if you want a flying car, put wheels on a helicopter.
I think that's basically right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure I would trust everyday people to fly that around, but
no, I mean, this is part of. I think what's going to happen is they'll be automated, right? So it'll be because one of the things. So a traditional helicopter has only one or two rotors because that's all a human can control. But it's actually much safer to have like a quadcopter or a 12-copter or whatever with a lot of little propellers because you have more redundancy, and I think they also have better aerodynamic properties. And so once you have software that can like navigate the thing, it like opens up a much larger design space for like where the propellers are and how many there are. And so then I think you could have kind of air taxi services where, you know, if you need to get to the airport, it like lands in a parking lot near your house and you get in and it takes you to the airport and drops you off at the airport, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Whenever I think about this, I just have visions of the first people who want this to like try and strap themselves to a drone that they've like souped up. Which would be funny. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment for us in the comments below. Let me know what you thought and if you'd like to see more of this from the show. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.